Hello. This is a bit unusual meeting, since we're all now forced to look for some new solutions to communicate. I really appreciate you agreed on taking part in the experimental version of a Russian-Norwegian conference on fishing industry. First, I'd like to introduce you to all the participants, including those from Norway, who will be watching the translated video. This is Denis Moiseev, Deputy Director of Research at the Murmansk Marine Biological Institute. To begin with, please tell us how you have been working against the backdrop of the pandemic. Are there any changes your institute has faced? Well, of course, we are working like everyone else in such conditions. Thanks to new technologies, we are able to work from home and hold online meetings. It seemed strange at first, but now we are getting used to it. We already have our own license for Zoom and arrange one or two online events daily. Despite all these restrictive measures, we managed to carry out expeditions by our research vessel Дальние Зеленцы, as well as some ichthyological studies. As lately as yesterday, our ship returned from a 3-week expedition. The work was carried out mainly in the area of the Svalbard archipelago, also known as Spitsbergen. This is a traditionally interesting area for us from a scientific point of view. We go there every year and cooperate with Norwegian scientists from UNIS, Svalbard International University. This time, due to the pandemic, we didn't enter either Longyearbyen or Barentsburg. The Norwegian authorities specified that we should be quarantined for at least 10 days in the territorial waters of Svalbard, but we were unable to do so. We decided to play it safe to prevent the situation that has happened lately with the fishing vessels in Tromsø trapped at sea. So we just worked there and returned to Murmansk. The temperature of the crew was regularly checked and everyone was healthy. So on that score, we are lucky. All right. So, in other words, you ensure that both the Russian and Norwegian specialists follow the rules and have been in constant cooperation. Here I want to clarify that to be able to work in the Norwegian exclusive economic zone and to conduct scientific research in the territorial waters, we send a request to the Norwegian authorities through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, and we always receive a positive answer. This time we did the same. We informed that we would be checking the temperature of our crew members and the trip from Murmansk to Svalbard would take us at least 2 weeks. We understand the position of the Norwegian authorities, preventing any outside contacts. We might have met some fishing vessel and talked to the crew. Of course we didn't do that, but in order to guarantee safety, and luckily no one has got sick in Svalbard so far, these are appropriate measures. Now let's talk about something that will be interesting to both the Norwegian and Russian participants. Please tell us about the international conference you are planning to hold in December. In fact, this is not the only event planned for December. We have many of them and right now we are preparing for them. Chronologically, a webinar on business activity in the Barents Sea is planned on December the 11th. Within the framework of the Russian-Norwegian cooperation in the field of environmental protection. Now we have been working with our Norwegian colleagues and our ministry on making a list of participants from various business areas. First it will be a general meeting, then group discussions, and at the end we plan A joint meeting with many issues on its agenda. The Union of Fish and Industry of Russia and Norway, along with the World Wildlife Fund, hold a set of events on December the 15th, and we are going to join them. Our concern is the problems of marine litter and, in particular, fishing gear, which is a type of plastic waste and a serious threat to the ecosystem. In addition, we are planning to hold another webinar with our Norwegian colleagues from Aquaplan Niva Research Institute and Norwegian Radiation and Nuclear Safety Authority on the radiological state of the Barents Sea and coastal waters. The date has not yet been fixed, presumably in early December. As the work is very busy and a lot of events have been switched to online and rescheduled from spring to autumn. In any case, we should make it before Norwegian Christmas holidays. I think all three events will be successful. We are going to provide more detailed information on our website soon and attract participants. Within the framework of our event, we are now doing different interviews, translating into English and sending the link to all the participants. They can watch the videos, have one-to-one Zoom or Skype meetings, and ask more detailed questions. It is not a one-off event. We plan to make it more large-scale in future. We will definitely make a link to your coming events in order to announce them and make the maximum audience reach. We have not posted it on our site yet, but I think we will send a letter of information to you. Another question: what is your assessment of the fish industry in the Murmansk region? Is it stable, growing, or, on the contrary, falling into decline? Maybe there are some innovations. For example, instead of the traditional species like cod, haddock, there is a high demand for scallops, sea urchins, collagen extracted from cod skins, laminaria extracts for pharmaceuticals. Our institute is engaged in fundamental scientific research. So here, of course, the question is more to the representatives of the Polar Research Institute. Like everyone else, I usually gain information about what is happening in the industry of our region from various media sources, so it's not my field of expertise. As part of our events, we will talk about the current climatic conditions, the danger of marine litter, and the fact that ghost fishing gear pollutes the sea bottom and is devastating for marine animals, who become entangled in fishing nets and die. Also, the important thing is that fishing depends on climate. For example, now in the Barents Sea there is practically no ice. For the last 30 years there has been a warm period. The Atlantic waters are rising and cod is swept along to the Far East, in contrast to the cold historical periods when fishing was concentrated in the western areas of the sea. Now it has expanded to the east and to the northeast. In the exclusive economic zone of Russia, fishing areas have increased. But the question is, how long will this warm period last? The general opinion of the specialists of our institute is that global warming is a global myth. It's a natural cycle, as warm and cool periods follow each other. Nothing extraordinary is happening. In fact, it's astronomy and the world's oceans that have a greater influence on the Earth's climate. We do not know exactly when, but a cold period may follow, when everything will change again, and will be more ice, the migration of cod and fishing areas will change, but in order to predict this, we are constantly researching the subject. The Norwegian Institute of Marine Research and Polar Institute make an assessment of the commercial fish stock Of course, these studies should be carried out constantly, otherwise, it's not possible to ensure the measurement accuracy. For example, ice in the Arctic is believed to disappear. I'm afraid we don't have such data. I have pictures that show the calculation area of the ice cover in the Arctic. Depending on the algorithm, the calculation area can reach 1 million kilometers, which is comparable to the area of the Barents Sea. Next, the satellite monitoring. Right now, the polar night has already begun in the north. Satellites see almost nothing. They are very expensive and available only for small areas. There are practically no weather stations beyond the Arctic Circle. Where can we get weather forecast data from? Therefore, in order to have accurate and reliable information, it is necessary to increase the volume of research. Another important issue is the so-called marine spatial planning. The legal systems in Norway and Russia have been developing in different ways, and the concept itself is designed to bring the interests of all those who conduct economic activities in the Barents Sea and the state of the ecosystem into balance. It is a difficult but very important task that many people are engaged in. I guess that will be all for today. Thank you for taking part and for the interesting and detailed answers. Good luck in your research activities.